Hi, everyone. It's Tannaz Hosseinpour, and welcome back to this episode with Brad Yates. I am so excited to have him on. He is an author, he is a speaker, and most importantly, he is an expert on all things related to tapping. Welcome.
Thanks, Tanaz. I'm very happy to be here.
Let's dive right in because this is such a powerful topic, and I want the audience to get the most out of it. So let's begin. What is tapping?
So it is quite literally a process of tapping with our fingertips on places around the face and torso. And for those of you who are new to it, I know that sounds a little strange. And the first time you see it, you might go, that's just weird. But there's a really good reason why we do it. So it's based on acupuncture. That's how it was discovered. For thousands of years in Chinese medicine, they've said there's a flow of energy through the body along pathways that are called meridians. And when this energy is flowing naturally, we experience our natural state of health and well being, physically and emotionally. And when this energy gets stuck or disrupted, then we don't feel so good. And when we don't feel good, we don't think as clearly, we don't make the best choices. And that has all kinds of unfortunate consequences for us. So, in traditional Chinese medicine, the doctor would stick needles in these key points to stimulate that healthy flow of energy. And we're just using our fingertips to tap to stimulate those same points to get the energy going. It's the simplest, quickest form of stress relief that I've found. And we have a growing body of scientific research validating it as a stress relief technique. fMRI studies, studies of cortisol, the stress hormone, where it decreases from the tapping. And when you consider that most, if not all, of the things that trouble us physically and emotionally are either caused by or at least worsened by stress, then you can see how having a simple stress relief technique like this can be so beneficial in so many ways.
Wow, you answered so many of my questions in just that one simple answer.
We're
But
good. Okay.
you touched on something important, and because whenever like a modality comes out and people are practicing it, there's always the skeptics that go like, is there scientific proof?
Yeah.
And I know you mentioned it briefly, but is there anything that you'd like to go more in depth with in terms of the evidence that's out there?
Yeah, and this is one of the great things because for those of us who have been using it for some time, we don't need the research
Hmm.
because we can just tell, wow, I can see the changes. It's made my life better in this way or that way. Just like so many things where we know we get benefited, and someone says, "Well, there's research showing that." It's like, great, I just found that on my own. I go see a movie that I really like. I don't need someone to come along and say, well, we did some research and we showed scientifically why that movie's good. It's like, okay. But I totally understand also the skepticism, especially because it looks a little strange and it's unfamiliar. And as human beings, we don't like what's familiar. What's funny to me is when people say, oh, where's the research? Until I see the research, I'm not going to try it. And I'll say, are you really that much of a data wonk? Because I'll bet that there are tons of things that you do throughout the day that research actually shows is unhealthy for you. so,
Hmm.
so you are living in opposition to the research. But I totally get it. It's not, and that's not to shame anybody who does that. It's to allow ourselves to look at it and go, okay, what's going on for me when I say I need that?
Hmm.
However, I am very grateful that we have this growing body of research. One of the lead researchers is a dear friend of mine, Dr. Peter Stapleton, who's a psychology professor at a university in Australia, who has did the first fMRI studies. Where so the first study she did with fMRI was on food cravings. So she'd take somebody, stick them into the machine, having them look at foods that they craved, and you could see what parts of the brain were getting lit up, take them out, go through some tapping protocols, and then put them back in and seeing how the brain activity is now normalized. And there those, so it's not just that the person is saying, "Oh yeah, I don't feel that same craving," and we can say, "Well, okay, well, it could be all kinds of different things," and maybe that person's just saying that, but you can actually see the difference in the brain scans and go, "Oh, there
Wow.
is something that has changed." There and with a lot of the research that's been done, there's all kinds of biological markers that we can see. And the great thing about that is also because even though a lot of times when we're doing the tapping, we notice a change right away. We feel more
Mhm.
relaxed. we may feel that there's something that was really upsetting us that it just doesn't bother us, sometimes in a matter of minutes,
Hmm.
sometimes it takes a lot longer. But especially if we're doing tapping and we're not really aware of the upset. So after tapping, it's like, I don't really notice a difference. Just kind of like brushing your teeth first thing in the morning, other than maybe bad breath. But if you're looking at your teeth and they look clean and you brush them and it's like they don't look any different, but they are. The
Hmm.
cleaning is working. So having this research with these biological markers, we can say, okay, even though you might have tapped for a few minutes and said, well, I don't feel any different, we could show you the differences have happened and changes have happened. So it's like taking vitamins. People take vitamins all the time, and I'll say, I challenge anyone to show me that they've ever taken a vitamin and said they noticed a difference right away. So it's like, ideally, we notice the difference with tapping right away, but it's always benefiting us, even if we're not consciously aware of those changes.
So it's both a reactive and a proactive tool that we can use for mental health.
Yeah, absolutely. Because we can deal with the stress that we might be noticing in the moment, but most of us are experiencing stress that we're not consciously aware of.
Hmm.
We have this ambient stress. We just take it for granted. And most of us are carrying this little device that's constantly telling us, how are you feeling? Here's something to upset you.
Yeah.
We're about to ruin your mood. And we have these stress and we just carry it and we don't recognize that it makes it difficult for us to think as clearly as possible.
Hmm.
So we can we can use the tapping to help downregulate stress that we're aware of, but we can also use it. I recommend tapping on a daily basis, just like taking a shower, brushing your teeth. Don't wait until you know you need it. Don't wait until people are holding their nose around you and say, oh, that's
Yeah.
right, I haven't taken a shower in a week, I should probably do that. We do it as maintenance. So to me, this is energy hygiene. It's maintenance so that when we get into a situation that could otherwise be really triggering, we might go, oh yeah, that's not good, and we can deal with it in a much more relaxed way. So it helps us be more prepared for life and the things that come up.
I love the term you used, energy hygiene, because you're right. We do spend so much time taking care of how our body looks on the
Yep.
outside, but maybe not as much time on what our soul needs or what our mind needs on the inside, or even what our
Yeah,
body needs on the inside.
we got that physical hygiene,
Yeah.
and but no, most people, their idea of stress relief is relaxing on the couch and watching junk television, which not a great mental diet. Everything in moderation, but or going out and drinking or using some kind of substance as their stress relief. And again, not judging or shaming anyone for that. It's not about that, but it's having something simple and healthy to be able to deal with it on a regular basis is so beneficial in so many ways.
Yeah, I can imagine. Question, is the length of how long, like, does the length matter? How long the tapping is? Because, like, today morning I woke up, I had a really bad dream that I was late to my engagement party. So I was so stressed. I woke up and I tapped on your short video that you have. It's called Amazing Day Quickie. I recommend everyone to do it every morning. But I felt so great afterwards. But usually tapping videos are a little bit longer. So I was just wondering, like, does it matter?
It depends. It's like washing your hands. I mean, during the pandemic, it's like 20 seconds, sing happy birthday. Okay. But, if you've been gardening and you've got a little bit of topsoil on your hands, it might only take a few seconds to wash that off. If you've been working on your car and you've got engine grease on your hands, it's going to take a little bit longer. But
Hmm.
anything that you do is going to benefit. Your hands will be getting cleaner as you're washing your hands. So a little bit of stress relief is better than no stress relief at all. And sometimes it may just be a really fast thing where I just do a couple minutes of tapping and I just feel a whole lot better. Uh, yeah, it depends on where you're at. And tapping is always beneficial. So if you have time to do more, hey, great. There are times where I'll just be absent-mindedly doing things and I'll just sit and tap. And it's like, there's nothing bothering me, but hey, it's not going to hurt my energy system to do this balancing technique and allowing that to be there. So anything you can do, even if you have a few moments, and if you're really stressed out and it only takes it down a few notches, that's still going to be beneficial in all kinds of ways, even if it's a subtle difference.
Yeah, thanks. That's so empowering to hear because sometimes we are like, oh, I don't have time for it. And just knowing that a couple of minutes does make a difference kind of takes that excuse away from us.
Yeah, it's like brushing your teeth. You should brush your teeth for 2 minutes, But if you only have a couple of seconds to brush your teeth, you wouldn't say, "Well, if I don't have 2 minutes to brush my teeth, I'm just not going to brush them at all."
Right.
Although many people do, there are consequences to that. Ideally,
Right.
to brush them for the full 2 minutes is the best. But if you only have a few seconds, just get in there and get some of the stuff off. That's going to be better than nothing. And so
Right.
it's the same with tapping.
And can we tap on any subject or are there like limitations?
Well, the original catchphrase of EFT was try it on everything. You know, whether will it work for everything? Who knows? But because of it's not like a panacea. It's like, oh, it's a cure-all, magic bullet that
Mhm.
deals that magically does everything. No, fundamentally, it's a stress relief technique. But because stress does, cause or worsen these situations, being able to take the stress out of it helps so much. So if someone broke their leg,
Mhm.
then I wouldn't say, oh, just tap, even though my leg's broken and it's going to be magically healed. However, there are all kinds of things that go on with something that happens like that. So I may be feeling scared about, oh, how much I'm going to miss so much work. I might be feeling guilty about the things that I might not be able to do. I'm going to be feeling sad about those things. So I have all these emotions. So all of this body energy that my system's energy that could be going towards healing my leg, a lot of it's going to dealing with guilt and sadness and fear. And it's like, okay, if I can tap to resolve those emotions and calm down the stress in my system, then I can just deal with the broken leg
Mhm.
and not be going off into all these other places that are so uncomfortable. It's like, yeah, I don't have time to be deal with that. I just want to heal right now. So I am more likely to heal faster.
Right. So it allows us to see more clearly, which reminds me of something that I always tell my clients is like a regulated nervous system is the secret ingredient to consciously manifesting your desires. So can we dive a little bit into that? Like, what is your take on the relationship between our emotions and the choices we make?
Yeah, well, because most of our choices are being made at an emotional level.
Yeah.
We are making choices constantly, and 80 to 90% of those choices are made at an unconscious level. We like to think we're making them all consciously, but no, we're making so many choices unconsciously. Like right now, just the way I'm holding my hands, and I just had the thoughts like, yeah, I'm not consciously thinking, okay, put this hand over this hand. Just and so we think about the consequences of our choices, and it's how we're feeling. So there's a feeling inside of us that says, I feel some discomfort or I want to feel better. And so I make these choices based on old programming about what makes me feel better. Why do we go eat chocolate? Because I have all this programming telling me chocolate's going to make me feel better. Even
Mhm.
though I might say, well, from a scientific standpoint, there's nothing in there that my body needs. And in fact, it's doing me harm. We can say, well, in moderation, yes, but am I really eating it in moderation?
Mhm. Or even addictions, like
Yeah,
smoking a cigarette.
absolutely. Any of these things, we're
Yeah.
not consciously deciding. What would be really good for me right now is to take some dried leaves, set them on fire, and suck that smoke into my lungs. That would be so. But there's a feeling if I'm uncomfortable right now, my programming tells me that smoking will make me feel better.
Hmm.
Or I'm lonely and my coworkers are having a smoking break. And so this allows me to go and socialize or whatever it might be.
Right.
So, what we're trying to do is resolve a stress experience that we're having. We are feeling some kind of emotional discomfort, which comes across as stress. And we're looking for old methods of relieving that stress. As unhealthy as they might be, we're part of this is saying, I know there will be consequences later, but that's later. Right now, I need to deal with what's happening in the moment. and I feel this discomfort, and I need to find a way to deal with that discomfort, even if it's going to be trouble later. So tapping helps us downregulate that stress such that we can say, okay, what do I really want here?
Mhm.
And this helps relieve the thing that I'm trying to fix with that addiction, that unhealthy substance, whether it, we call it addiction, or it's, well, I'm reaching for these unhealthy foods. I may not be addicted to it, but it's still not a healthy choice. So we can resolve the compulsion to indulge in that unhealthy choice. And whether it's things that we're consuming, or how we're talking to people, or what we choose to do with our time, and then we have that freedom. I like to, so one of the names for tapping is emotional freedom techniques, EFT. So emotional freedom is the freedom to make better choices
Mhm.
in terms of the choices we make. So, and when we think about manifesting things, it gives me the freedom to be at a more positive vibrational match for what I'm doing. And for people who go, I don't believe law of attraction, so how can tapping help with, say, making more money? All right. Do you believe that your choices and your behavior have an effect on your money situation? Yeah. Do you believe that stress has an effect on your behavior and your choices? Well, yeah. Okay. So having a way to deal with the stress can affect how you're feeling, the choices that you're making, your behavior, and the results you get in any area of your life.
Wow, so powerful. As you were saying that, I was thinking, can we tap on something related to money and just income, maybe? Because I
Yeah,
hear that a
absolutely.
lot. It's like everyone's talking about, right? The economy isn't good. Inflation is this, recession is this. And I
Yeah.
think it would be really, like, really powerful if we did something on that.
Yeah, absolutely. And whether or not the economy is good, it's so interesting because it's like it's a matter of perception. Depends on what
Yeah,
news you're looking at. Because, one person will say the economy is the worst it's ever been. Another person will say, according to what I'm looking at, the economy is doing great.
right.
So it's our perception, and that's the thing that's challenging us. So I'll describe the tapping points first, just for anyone
Yeah,
who's
please.
listening to this rather than watching. What you're going to do is you're going to take your index and middle finger of your dominant hand, and with the fingertips, gently tap on the edge of your opposite hand. So right between your wrist and your pinkies, gently tap in there. And what we'll do is we'll have a setup phrase. So whatever the issue that's bothering us, um, I feel so stressed out. I'm really angry at Bob. I'm nervous about this project at work. So we would repeat that. Even though I'm nervous about this project at work, I choose to love and accept myself. So we'll say that 3 times while tapping the side of your hand. Then we'll go to the next point, which is right at the beginning of your eyebrow, right near the center of your face. Gently tap in there. And we generally tap each of these points between 5 and 10 times. And then we'll repeat the reminder phrase, all this stress, this nervousness about the job, whatever. Then we go to follow the eyebrow out to the side of the eye, so the corner of the eye socket, all this stress. Right into the middle of your eye, just above your cheek, all this stress. Next point is just between your nose and your upper lip, all this stress. Then right below your lower lip, just above your chin, all this stress. Right here where your collarbones just about come together, there's a little bit of a U shape at the base of your throat. And just, you can make a fist and tap that whole area there, all this stress. The next point is about 4 inches below your armpit, right about bra strap level. And I'm sure even the guys can figure out where that is, all this stress. And then finally, the top of your head. So using all of your fingertips, just tapping around the crown of your head, all this stress. Then you take a deep breath and you check again. So at the beginning, you would normally rate the stress on a scale of 0 to 10. How stressed do I feel? How angry at Bob am I? And sometimes it'll go from an 8 to a 0 like that. Sometimes it'll take longer, but those are the points. So we'll have some fun with this now. Talking about manifesting and increasing abundance. For those of you who are just listening, don't worry about tapping the same points. I'll start off with, an even though statement. We'll be tapping the side of the hand, and then I'll tell you when to go to the eyebrow point. And as I take a break between each point, just repeat back the phrase and then move on to the next point. If you don't remember what the points are, don't worry. You can go back and watch one of my YouTube videos later. And even if you just tap one point, it'll still be beneficial. So, what I'd like everyone to do first is close your eyes, unless you're driving, and take a deep breath. And I want you to imagine the kind of abundance you'd like to have. So maybe it's imagining, what you do with that money. It's like the house you'd live in, the car you drive, if it's material things like that. Maybe it's looking at your online bank statement and seeing how much money is there. Allow yourself to imagine having the kind of money you believe you'd like to have. And just notice what goes on inside your body and say, it's safe for me to have this much. Rate that on a scale of 0 to 10. Now, if you're saying it's a 10, I'm going to say check again. Because if it was a 10, you'd either have that much or you'd notice, or you'd be well on your way and going, yeah, my abundance is increasing. I'm doing fine. If you're not, the extent to which we're not experiencing what we say we want tends to be the extent to which we're resisting it. And one of the general reasons we resist it is because it doesn't feel safe. So just allowing yourself to be aware of any resistance that you might have to that money. Notice on a scale of 0 to 10 how much resistance might be there and where in your body it might be. And just allow yourself to be open to that it's there, even if your mind is going, no, 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 I'm totally fine with having this money. I'm just stopping myself in different ways. So go ahead and open your eyes. Tap it on the side of your hand. Even though I might be resisting more money, I choose to love and accept myself. Even though I might be resisting having more money, I choose to love and honor myself. Even though I might be resisting having more money, although part of me resists that idea, I choose to be open to that possibility. Just in case addressing this could actually lead to having more money. And even though I might be resisting having more money, I choose to deeply and completely love, honor, and accept myself. And maybe anyone else who contributes to this resistance. Because I choose to be that free. So now we're going to go through the different points. So starting with the eyebrow point. All this possible resistance to more money. All this resistance to having more money. All this fear of having more money. And part of me might be saying, what the heck is he talking about? I have no resistance to having more money. Definitely don't have a fear of having more money. And if somebody was to observe my behavior, they would never see me do anything that might limit my financial well-being. They would always see me spending wisely. They would see me doing everything I could to increase my income. They'd see me always moving forward with my income. And maybe I'm aware that that's not entirely true. They might see me do a few things that actually limits my income. They might see me do some things that hurt my financial well-being. Not because I'm bad or stupid. Not because I'm weak or lazy. but because I have old program about why I couldn't or shouldn't have more money. Maybe I was told that money was the root of all evil. Maybe I was told that people who had more money were greedy. So while I consciously say I want more money, part of me is protecting me from having more money. I am actually very successful financially. I am succeeding at having the finances I believe is right for me. And I'm allowing myself to get curious about what negative beliefs I have about money. I'm allowing myself to see that they're misunderstandings so that I can clear those. Allowing myself to know that I can be good and rich. I can be good and rich. And I'm clearing my blocks to that. It's safe for me to have more money. Part of me says, but it would be different. And I'm not sure I can handle different. So I keep manifesting what's familiar. I'm clearing my doubts about myself, clearing my doubts about my ability to learn. I could learn to manage more money. And maybe I'm afraid of what other people would say and how they'd be jealous. That's their issue to tap on. I cannot limit my finances enough to help anybody. So I'm clearing my fears to having more money, allowing myself to know it's okay to have more money. Setting myself free in body, mind, and spirit. Take a deep breath. Close your eyes. And again, think about the amount of money that you'd like to have. Again, looking at the things you'd want to spend it on or your online bank statement, whatever it might be. Just following your breath through your body. Just notice how that might feel different. Say, it's safe for me to have this much money. It's okay for me to have this much money. Hopefully that feels more true. And again, tapping is often like peeling the layers of an onion. And you may just be more aware of, oh, now I remember this thing that happened when I was a kid. My parents had this fight about money, and I thought, oh, money just causes problems. It's like, no, money doesn't cause problems. People's beliefs about money cause problems.
Right. Right. That was so powerful. Is it normal that like the second time I closed my eyes, the number just like it went times 10? Like that's the number I want to have now? Because the previous number just felt so safe. I was like, duh. And now I was like, now I have to tap again on this new number.
Which is great because recognizing it's like, oh, I've been playing small. I've been saying, well, I want to have this much because I had old beliefs about, well, Tannaz, you shouldn't be wanting more.
Yeah.
Good people don't ask for more like that. It's like, and my whole reason I love tapping on money issues. And it's not because I'm all money hungry and all greedy. And it's like, oh, you should have a lot of money. My reason for doing it is that money is generally the result of the service that you provide.
Right.
And if you have a resistance to having more money, then one of the best ways to resist that is to limit the service you provide. And
Mhm.
that's what I won't stand for. Because
I
I am
love
a
that.
gift unwrapper and I want people to share their gifts and talents with the world. So it's like, please be okay with having money so that you'll be okay with sharing your gifts in a way that could bring in money.
That is so powerful. I'm going to like write that down, turn it into a code, and turn it into our photo for this episode because I just love that. Like, you can't, if you're scared of money, how are you going to serve people
Yeah.
and share
Yeah.
your gifts with
You want to go
humanity?
out there and see. So the first example comes to mind, Taylor Swift.
Hmm.
If Taylor, so many people love her music, and you see fans, they flock to the concert because they just love hearing how she sings and all that. If she thought, oh, money was bad, and said, no, I'm not going to put myself out there, people would be missing out.
Right.
Well, here's the thing: people are missing out on your gifts and talents. Whoever you are that you're listening to me say this right now, I'm talking to you specifically. Chances are, if you are not experiencing all the success that is absolutely possible, then chances are you are holding yourself back from being of service in the ways that you could be.
Mm.
And look around the world could use the services of every person who's willing to do that. And we all have gifts and talents to share, in some way. And it may be at different levels. It may not be, you know, performing in stadiums to thousands and thousands of people, but there are ways, and it may not be money that's the block, but there's something that we may be resisting if we're holding ourselves back from sharing our gifts in the ways that we can.
Super, super profound and so empowering. Thank you for that reminder. How can people get in touch with you? How can they? I mean, yes, they're all on YouTube. You have so many videos on YouTube, which I love. But is there any other way that people can connect with you?
Yeah, thanks, Tannaz. The best way is to go to my website, tapwithbrad.com. I have a couple of free 5-day programs. One is called Tap into Your Best Self,
Mm-hmm.
and it's 5 days of tapping, and specifically to clear that stuff that keeps you from knowing how awesome you are. Because when you know you're awesome, you're going to put yourself out there much more. The other one is called Success Beyond Belief. So not only is like, wow, success beyond belief, it's so much success, but it's also technically the success that is beyond your current beliefs.
Yeah. Current level of
So
consciousness.
yeah, those
Wow.
are those are free 5-day programs to check out there.
Wow, amazing. I'm gonna leave the links in the show notes so everyone can just click on them and get access to it. Thank you so, so much for sharing all your insights, for tapping with us, for explaining to us what tapping is, how it can benefit us, and it's just adding this tool to our mental toolbox. So thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure, Janaz. I appreciate the opportunity to share this. Thanks to everyone who's willing to give it a try.
Wonderful. Thank you everyone for listening. Speak soon.